Call order the regular Sparks City Council meeting of July 9th with a roll call, please.
Mayor Martini?
Here.
City Clerk Patterson here. Council members Ratty? Here. Lawson? Here. Smith absent. Kerrigan?
Here.
Schmidt?
Here.
City Manager Carey?
Here.
City Attorney Adams?
Here.
Okay, if you'd all stand for the invocation speaker, we have Brett Zanino from the Summit Christian Church. Welcome.
Oh, Father God, we just thank you for this beautiful day you provided for us. What an incredible season we had here. Father, it's such a privilege to be here today, to serve a beautiful community in the city of Sparks. And God, we just ask you for a special blessing over to me today, Lord, the council members, and the audience, Father, and bless us. You give us discernment, wisdom, and guidance, Father, and we would trust not just us alone, but also women. But Father, we want to ask for a blessing over our fire and our police department as well. And Lord, today we want to just beg the people who serve so well in our community, who are unnoticed, those who have faith, and just the faithfulness to continue to show the work to keep the infrastructure of the city moving. That's a person that is usually overseen and often overlooked. Father, we pray a prayer blessing over them, and we thank you for the tireless service and the efforts they put into keeping us moving along every day. So Father, we ask that you be with us today. We invite you in. We trust in you, Father. We pray that you will move ahead of you, but we'll wait on you. We just thank you so much for the opportunity to be here again today. We pray this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Thank you, sir. You all remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. Mr. Carey, would you lead us?
Please follow me. I pledge allegiance to the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, next we have comments from the public. I have no speaking cards. Anyone want to speak? Seeing none, we'll move on. Approval of the agenda. We do want to note one thing on the approval of the agenda. We want to continue 6.4, which is Mr. Carey's evaluation till the first meeting in August, which will be August 13th. Seeing that Mr. Smith is not here, we'd like to have everyone here for the evaluation. So, anyone else want to take anything out of order? If not, looking for a motion. Mr. Schmidt.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to make a motion to approve the agenda as outlined with postponing item 6.4 until August the 13th meeting.
Do you have a second? Ms. Ratty.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Schmidt, seconded by Councilwoman Ratty to approve the agenda as amended. Any further discussion? Seeing none, please vote. Cross your fingers. Okay, passed unanimously with those present. Got room there? Okay, next is recommendation to approve minutes of the council meeting of June 25th. Any additions or corrections or deletions? Not looking for a motion. Mr. Lawson.
Move to approve.
Have a second?
Second.
Moved by Councilman Lawson, seconded by Councilman Kerrigan to approve the minutes of the June 25th meeting as outlined by staff. Any further discussion? Seeing none, please vote. Passes unanimously. Next is announcements, presentations. We have a proclamation for Parks and Recreation Month. Somebody from Parks and Rec here, Andre, come on up. Have a seat. I'll read the proclamation, then you can say a few words, if you would like. Proclamation. Whereas public parks and recreation systems are dedicated to enhancing the quality of life for millions of residents and communities around the world through recreation programming, leisure activities, and conservation efforts. And whereas parks, recreation activities, and leisure experiences provide opportunities for young people to live, grow, and develop into contributing members of society, create continuous life experiences for older members of the community, generate opportunities for people to come together and experience a sense of community, and pay dividends to communities by attracting businesses and jobs and increasing housing values. And whereas we recognize the vital contributions of the employees and volunteers in parks and recreation facilities who keep public parks clean and safe for visitors, provide events and programming for all ages and abilities, advocate for more open space and better trails, and ensure that parks and recreation facilities are safe and accessible places for all citizens to enjoy. Now therefore, I, Gino R. Martini, Mayor of the City of Sparks, Nevada, do hereby proclaim July 2012 Recreation and Parks Month and call upon park and recreation supporters to join us in recognizing the importance of our nation's parks and recreation facilities and to learn more about how to support the places that bring our communities a higher quality of life, safer places to play, and healthy alternatives through recreation programming everywhere.
Thank you, Mayor Martini and City Council. Our Vice Chair of the Parks and Recreation Commission was hoping to be here today to accept this, and we have a great commission that does a lot of work year-round to help support the cause of all that we do in Parks and Rec. And if it wasn't for the support of the leadership of the City of Sparks, the residents and sponsorships, businesses, you name it, that's all the folks that come together to make it happen, and we appreciate that. We impact a lot of lives every day because of that.
Comments, questions? Andre, thanks. We appreciate all your hard work. I know it's been tough with layoffs and those kind of things, but you guys are doing a great job. We appreciate it. Thanks. Okay, let's move on to consent items. Anybody want to pull a consent item, 5.1 through 5.4? If not, looking for a motion. Ms. Ratty.
To approve the consent agenda as presented?
Second, do I have a second?
Second.
Moved by Councilwoman Ratty, seconded by Councilman Kerrigan to approve consent items. Any further discussion? Seeing none, please vote. Passed unanimously. Let's move on to 6.1, consideration and possible approval of elected official reappointment of Mayor Gino Martini to the Regional Planning Governing Board. Discussion, questions, Mr. Kerrigan?
Yeah, before you change your mind, I'd like to make a motion that we reappoint you to the board.
Mr. Lawson.
I was going to ask if I could see his resume, but I guess we'll accept him the way he is.
I'd love to show you my resume. It'll show I'm not qualified to do that. Okay, it's been moved by Councilman Kerrigan, seconded by Councilman Lawson to approve 6.1. Any further discussion? Seeing none, please vote. Passed unanimously. Moving right along, 6.2, consideration and possible approval of a victim advocate position grant in the amount of $74,904. Who's presenting this, Mr. Carey? Oh, Mr. Chief Kiefer. We lulled you to sleep.
Good afternoon, Council and Mayor.
That fire chief.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, I think it was the other way around today, but it was good afternoon. And before us, we have the opportunity to accept a grant through the state of Nevada. In the previous years, we've accepted grants, and they've also been from the state of Nevada. This one's a little bit different, and it'll suit our needs better, which allows us to treat or assist victims in family crimes. We were able to do that with the other one that was geared more towards domestic violence, but this one is more in the nature that we seem to be in more frequently. It's a 3-year grant for $74,904, and I recommend that you would approve this.
Questions for Chief Kiefer? If not, looking for a motion. Mr. Schmidt.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to make a motion that we accept the State of Nevada Division of Child and Family Services 3-year grant amount of $74,904.
Do we have a second? Mr. Lawson.
Second?
Excuse me, moved by Councilman Schmidt, seconded by Councilman Lawson to approve 6.2. Any further discussion? Seeing none, please vote.
You have to do the
You might have to. Passed unanimously. Thanks, Chief.
Thank you.
Next is 6.3, consideration and possible adoption of resolution number 3218, directing the county treasurer to give notice of the sale of property subject to the lien of a delinquent assessment, ratifying all actions previously taken, and providing other matters properly relating thereto. Go ahead.
Debbie Hunt, Finance Department. This is to allow Washoe County to go forward with a notice of a sale and potential sale of one property at the marina so that the assessments on that property can be collected to pay the city's debt.
Questions? What property is it, Debbie?
I have a parcel number.
That's it? Okay.
Actually, I have an address.
Okay.
It's on Bay Shore Drive.
Is it the parking garage or one of the houses?
No, it's a residence.
Residence, okay. All right. Any other questions? Go ahead, Mike.
Debbie, is this the one that we already approved several months ago?
Every time the properties become delinquent, I did not check the parcel number on this. I don't know if it's the same property owner. I do know it's transferred to the bank
Okay.
at this point, but I don't know if it's the same parcel that
Okay.
came before you before.
Any other questions? Okay, looking for a motion. Mr. Schmidt,
Motion to approve item 6.3 is outlined by staff.
do you have a second?
Second.
Moved by Councilman Schmidt, seconded by Councilman Kerrigan to approve 6.3. Any further discussion? Seeing none, please vote. Passes unanimously. Thanks, Debbie. Okay, let's move on to 7.1. Second reading, public hearing, and possible approval of Bill Number 2645, an ordinance amending Chapter 2, Section 2.12.060, Powers and Duties, and Chapter 12, Section 12.24.010, Definitions, 12.24.030, Times when parks open, and 12.24.090, Park Rules. Whoops. I'll get to the rest of it. Sparks Municipal Code, and providing other matters properly related thereto. Who's doing this item?
Not with us today, so I'll take the item on. This ordinance was prepared by the City Attorney's Office at the request of the Parks Director. It's mainly to realign the department with its new areas of responsibilities, catch up on some of the facilities such as Golden Eagle Park that we've added. Most of the changes are disclosed clearly in the ordinance, and we'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Questions for Mr. Carey? Okay, this is a public hearing, so I'll open the public. Anyone in the audience like to speak to this particular item? Seeing none, I'll close it to the public and bring it back to council for action. Questions? Mr. Lawson.
I'm going to make a motion to approve 7.1 as outlined by staff.
Do we have a second? Ms. Ratty.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Lawson, seconded by Councilwoman Ratty to approve agenda item 7.1. Any further discussion? Seeing none, please vote. Passed unanimously. Thank you. Next is planning and zoning, public hearing and action items. PCN 12016, consideration of and possible action on a request for tentative and final approval of amendment to the Sparks to the Marina Landing Plan Development Handbook. Ms. Melby.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. Karen Malby, Senior Planner. Before you today is a request for tentative and final approval of amendment to the handbook, the Marina Landing Plan Development Handbook. As you may remember, the RV park, the Marina Landing RV Park, is located on Lincoln, just north of the marina, our Sparks Marina. The applicant is requesting to amend the handbook on the length of stay in the RV park. The current language in the handbook states that an RV shall not occupy an RV space for a period more than 25 consecutive days and may not occupy any RV space at the same RV park for more than 50 days during a consecutive 3 months. The applicant is requesting to change that language to any RV shall not occupy any RV space within the RV park for a period of more than 90 days, and following the 90 days shall not occupy any RV space within the RV park for a period of more than 15 days. The other amendments, the other amendment that they are requesting to the handbook is to allow them to increase their existing sign from 8 feet to 20 feet. They have a sign located on Lincoln that's not very visible to people approaching on Lincoln coming from McCarran, which is what GPS generally gives the direction to occupants to the park. So they want to raise their sign up to 20 feet so it's more visible for people coming to the park. Staff is considering that both of these amendments are minor, and so that we were we are processing them as a tentative and final together. This concludes my presentation. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Questions for Ms. Melby? Mr. Kerrigan?
Thank you, Mayor. Karen, I got somebody that lives in a mobile home park next to it. Got a letter from somebody in there, and they bring up a good point. What's the definition of a mobile home park versus an RV park?
RV park is short stay, and it also, my understanding is they actually have to pay like a room tax, where a mobile home park is actual real estate tax. You have to actually pay, like if you were staying in a hotel, so that's.
Okay, because the point is, the excuse is that there's some workers that are living in the RV park. So to me, that's, I always thought RV parks were people that were traveling, so obviously that's out the window. But if we change it to 90 days, we're going against our municipal code. So don't you think we should change our municipal code before we do this? I guess that might be an attorney question.
Well, the handbook, this is a plan development, and plan developments can alter the code requirements. So
if it's in our Sparks municipal code?
Yes.
Okay.
That the plan developments can alter what's permitted use for this, and that is only this RV park. It's not the other RV parks. Uh-oh.
He's trying to answer you, but it's...
No, but what I'm saying is, okay, because it has a plan, so what are the other RV parks going to do? That was my next question, so thanks for bringing it. Because the other RV park doesn't have...
they have to comply with whatever code.
Okay,
most
so
of them are special use permits, and so they have conditions on their special use permit restricting.
So we're going to give one RV park in the city of Sparks a special dispensation over everybody else's. In other words...
That's what they're requesting, yes.
He's trying to answer you, but he broke his microphone. There we go.
Okay, so anyway, that's correct. So we're going to give one RV park, they can stay there for 90 days, and all the other RV parks in Sparks, it still follows the code. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And nobody has a problem with that?
If the other RV parks would like some exceptions, they can come and request an exception to their special use.
And can they do it under their whatever zoning they're in?
They would have to get an amendment to their special use permits.
Okay.
Do you want to ask Chet something? He's back in service.
No, I just wanted to make sure. I just wanted to put it on the record that if you have a Sparks municipal code and you have a plan development handbook, you can override the code.
For the record, that's one of the reasons that the law allows you to create a planned unit development.
Okay, just wanted to get it on the record. Thank you.
Armando?
Mayor Martini, members of the council, Armando Ornella, city planner. Just a point of clarification. If another RV park wanted to do the same thing, they would have to. They would only be able to amend their special use permit in that manner after we amended Title 20, because the zoning code does the special use permit could be amended if we change the Title 20.
Okay.
What's Title 20 say now?
It has those limitations, yes.
Okay.
And Councilman Kerrigan, you're correct in terms of, yes, this would allow this RV park to essentially have different rules than the rest of the RV parks. But because it's zoned through a plan development handbook, that's essentially custom zoning, if you will, for this property. And so it is something, it can do things differently than would be otherwise the case if simply Title 20 applied. But you're correct.
Is that it, Mike?
Yeah, thank you.
Mr. Schmidt?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just real quick, a special use permit, you have to follow Title 20. A planning handbook, you do not have to follow Title 20.
Special use permits may be required in plan developments. If, for example, you can have a plan development handbook, and it allows certain uses by right, and it allows other uses with a special use permit. So the special use permit may be required either within Title 20 or within a handbook, depending on on what the code says or what the handbook says. So so it's not that the special use permit is required per se. It's that the zoning, if you will, for properties that aren't covered by a handbook is Title 20. In Title 20, if a property is covered by a handbook, then it has its own zoning essentially.
Was this particular project required a special use permit inside the plan handbook?
Not for the
For the RV park, the development no, I believe it was just a site plan review.
It's allowed by right.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Mr. Lawson?
I have a disclosure to make prior to voting on this, that I have done business with Mr. Menke prior to becoming elected, so I want to make sure that that's on the record. I don't believe that affect my decision on this particular item.
Okay. Okay, we still have a public hearing, so any other questions for staff right now? Okay, this is a public hearing. I'll open it to the public. Anyone in the public like to speak to this particular item? Mr. Raley?
Good afternoon. For the record, Mike Raley with Rubicon Design Group here on behalf of Sparks Marina RV Park. Mr. Menke, the owner and operator of the RV Park, is here as well. Just to provide a little bit of clarification on the 90-day stay, that's consistent with state law, and the reason that we're requesting is with gas prices being so high nowadays, you're finding that the travelers come in, such as the snowbirds that come in during the winter from colder climates, that like to extend their stay, where normally they might just pass through. With gas prices so high, they stay longer. The other example that was given is, with the mines booming in Elko and Winnemucca, there's definitely a shortage of housing. Some workers will come in and park their trailer, go work in the mines for 2 weeks, come back and stay in 2 weeks. So it's definitely not a permanent thing. The other RV parks in town, I think you'll see, are fairly non-conforming in terms of their length of stay and have some permanent residents. We've put in some other strict conditions in our handbook that say, no permanent structures, no decks, no clotheslines. All RVs must maintain current registration and be roadworthy and that sort of thing. So we've put in checks to ensure that this does not become a permanent resident type situation. As far as the sign, I do have an exhibit I can put up.
Sure.
A lot of the clientele for the RV park comes in from California. If you put it into your GPS, it'll tell you to get off of McCarran, come in past Western Village, then link on to Lincoln that way. And as you can see, if you're heading eastbound on Lincoln, the sign is essentially invisible now. So what that forces to do, people with big trailers, big motorhomes, having to go down through the roundabout and come back. So this will really help, with the customers coming in and a lot of congestion there in the roundabout. So fairly simple request, but we're here to answer any questions you might have.
Any questions for the applicant? Ms. Ratty?
So the way I heard you read it, it was 90 days in a space, and then if you exceed that 90 days,
then you have to leave for at least 15
You have to
days
leave for 15.
before you can come back, correct.
So so it's not just the space, it's the whole development, because the way.
Yeah, if you after 90 days, you would have to leave and then come back.
Okay. Not just move to another space.
Right.
Thank you.
So currently, excuse me.
Go right ahead.
Currently, you could just move over one space.
Not under the current, no.
No? You have to
it's
leave-
the same, it's
you
just,
have to leave
after
the
25
park.
days, you have to leave, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, okay, thank you.
Okay, anyone else? Is that it, Mike? Thanks. Anyone else in the public want to speak to this particular item? Okay, and we'll enter this letter. Linda, did you get a copy of it? Well, okay, we'll enter this letter from Steve Caraway into the public comment on this particular item. Anyone else? Okay, we'll close the public hearing, bring it back to council for action. Questions? Motions? Questions? Motions?
I guess I do have a question. Did this go to the planning commission?
Yes.
And what were the results of the planning commission? I was looking for it, but I didn't see it in the report.
The planning commission is recommending approval.
Unanimously?
Yes.
Thank you. So I'll make a motion.
Okay, go ahead.
Move to approve the tentative and final plan development handbook for Marina Landing, PCN 12016, adopting findings PD 1 through PD 21, and facts supporting these findings as set forth in the staff report.
Do I have a second? Mr. Lawson.
Second.
It's been moved by Councilwoman Ratty, seconded by Councilman Lawson to approve this agenda item as outlined by staff. Any further discussion? Seeing none, please vote. Whoops, I'm sorry.
No, I just wanted to say, I'm going to vote no on this, and I wanted to explain why. I just really get upset when government gives, a advantage to a business over other businesses. And no other, no other RV park in Sparks can do this, so that's the reason I'm going to vote no.
Anyone else? Okay, please vote. Okay, it's 2-2, 2 yes, 2 no, so it dies, is that right, Mr.?
Correct.
So is this allowed to come back?
It's as if it never happened. So
So it's available, they can reapply then, is that?
Sure can.
Do they have to go through the planning commission again?
Let me get back to you on that.
Okay. All right, that's that. Thanks, Karen. Okay, next is comments from the city council and city manager. Seeing none? Comments from the public? Anyone in the public want to relate to this, to have a public comment? Okay, seeing no further business, we're adjourned.